Hey everyone, I'm back, and much like the rest of the UK, I'm badly in need of a haircut. But anyway, you may remember in my last video, I mentioned something about getting a frame sent to me, which is dear to my heart, and building it up with my spare parts box. Well, a phone call to my dad, a bit of postage later, I have my frame. Now, a few of you tried to guess what frame this was going to be, and there were some actually really good guesses. A few people thought it might be an old Pashley, which I used to have. Some people thought it might be the titanium global frame, which I had and then gave to Danny. But you were all wrong apart from one person. One of my biggest fans, Vlad, obviously has been watching my vlogs for a while, because a long time ago, I can't remember which vlog it was, I went home and I featured this frame. This is the first ever good bike that I ever had. A 1996 GT Avalanche. This was the very first serious bike that I ever got. I actually got it in 1997, and this is what started my love of riding. My first ever year of competition was on this bike, and yeah, a trials bike it is not. It is an 18-inch frame. When I got it, it was a full bike with really narrow, I think 23-inch wide bars. It had cantilever brakes, triple chainring. It was the most cross-country bike you could get at the time. And I pretty much rode it as it was until parts started to break and then you replace them. So I eventually broke the rims, I replaced them with something a bit stronger. I put a bash ring on it when I bent the chain rings, put grippier pedals on, and eventually it got modified into more and more of a trials bike, but the frame was always going to be a big 18-inch frame, and myself being a young 13, 14-year-old, it was a struggle to ride this thing. But as hard as this thing was to ride, I learned an awful lot riding it. I often think riding trials on a bike that's not necessarily designed for trials actually teaches you a lot of good habits. The bike isn't doing the work for you, so you've got to figure out what body movements do what. So by riding this bike, which is very hard to ride, I actually think I became a better rider because of it. Anyway, I never threw away this frame. I've had this in my shed for a long time. It's seen better days. To be honest with you, it's not really that dented, it's just cosmetically, it's a little bit rough. I tried to paint some black flames on the front of the head tube, God knows why, it looks awful. I've had stickers on it, there's lots of glue residue left over. So, today I'm going to build this bike up, but first I need to make this frame a little bit prettier. I need to clean it up a little bit. So I've got some Autosol, I've got some paint stripper, I'm going to attack it and see what we can do with it. I'm not going to try and make it perfect, I'm just going to try and make it look a little bit better. And then I'm going to go into my parts box. I've got everything I need to make this into a full bike, and I can't wait to get this thing built. Anyway, that's enough intro. I'm sure you guys want to see this thing built, so let's get straight into it. Right, it is finally done. That actually took way longer than I expected. Got there in the end though, and oh my word, this is bringing back some memories, although this is a way pimper build than I had back then. I was torn between trying to keep it retro and fitting modern stuff, but if I did want to keep this retro, people are charging silly money for this era stuff and it would have cost an absolute fortune. So it's a little bit of mix of both. Although that being said, the only real retro parts are the rear rim and the rear brake. Everything else is fairly modern. And it'd be interesting to see how this thing rides with these modern parts on. Although to be fair, it's been so many years since I've ridden this frame, I can't even remember how it rode even with the old parts on. It's going to be a surprise either way. It is pretty surprising just how big this frame is. I got this bike when I was about 13, maybe 14, and yeah, I was a little runt. I wasn't a particularly big 13 or 14-year-old, so riding a bike this big must have been quite the sight. Can't believe I did a year's worth of competitions on this thing. And of course, soon as lockdown has finished, I will be out on this bike and make some proper videos and see what I can do on this thing and try not to kill myself or kill my pride and joy frame. That would be so sad if I ended up breaking it after all these years. I really hope you enjoyed the retro vibe to this video. There really does seem to be a resurgence of old school riders and old school bikes coming out at the minute thanks to lockdown. Everyone's dusting off the bikes stuck at the back of the sheds, and it's really awesome to see that. If you did indeed like the video, hit a like, thumbs up, comment, all that stuff. If you really liked it, give me a subscribe. If you really liked it and you just want to support the channel and see more stuff, more entertainment, more weekly videos for you guys, then please consider hitting me up on Patreon, where you get early release and longer videos. And also consider getting some merch like I am rocking right now. It gives you something cool to wear and it really does help support the channel. Or if you want to help without any obligations, just a one-off thing, then please consider a donation via PayPal. I will link all these things down below in the description. Anyway, have an absolutely fantastic week and I will catch you next time. So take care everyone. Bye bye.